Okay, hopefully the last one wasn't too big, or I'm gonna just keep doing this all day. So after, yeah, so I was explaining why I didn't just go down to the other desk down the hall and copy her etc x11 folder and go into Red Hat, delete mine, copy hers in. Well, hindsight's 2020. I didn't know whether I'd be able to get my setup back. This is pretty extensive. I had to install, from a fresh install, you have to do an upgrade, which takes about 2 hours. They work smoothly, but you still have to do that. I had that on video, lost that. Then you have to, because of battery and space, and then you have to install Wine, and then you have to install all the different apps and all the different bottles that work well, and figure out which bottle works right and all that other stuff. Then you're going to install the Linux apps that you might want, etc., etc., etc. So it was just it's a lot of work, but I didn't know if I'd be able to get that work back. Here's my Samba client, had to set that up, and so anyway, I set out to install Ubuntu in another directory, so that way I keep calling them directories, they're partitions, and another partition, and then basically after I got it installed and got the graphics the way I wanted it, my next intent was to go ahead and just start experimenting and seeing, well, what happens if I delete the X11 folder from this broken Ubuntu and put the one from this new setup that I know is working the way I want it into this one. Will it work? Will it not? And if that doesn't work, then maybe I'll try another thing, or maybe I'll try replacing the entire opt-kde directory, etc., etc. Okay. Got past that. I've talked about there were two other steps that I took to try to troubleshoot this whole thing, and I guess this will give you some insight on some of the workings. I'm not changing nothing. Thank you. Okay, now, when you log into, the first time you log into KDE, both of them, actually, I could delete, okay, it creates a .kde and a .kde3 file, and basically if you've told KDE that you want it to have certain sounds for certain actions, like when I click cancel on that last question that came up, it gave me a boom, or whatever. They're customizations, what icons are on the desktop, what little widgets are down here, things like that when you're first setting up, get things the way you like it. Those are actually stored in both, I believe, this .kde and .kde3 folders. Now, since this, if you make a change to this, I typically expect that the configuration change you've made really affects a file in here. Okay, so these folders aren't read until you log in as you, the user. In this case, I'm logging in as Jack. So as you notice, when I logged into root into KDE from this same system, this same setup, I found that you're not going to find the Dell and the Drobo icon up there, the Internet Explorer, the Adobe, none of these things are there. It just has almost nothing on the desktop to start with. And so what I did, my strategy was that since I changed a setting that I really figured was in here, what isn't clear is the level of integration between this control panel and the entire system. And apparently either the splash screen or the monitor doesn't stay just within the user, right? If it just stayed within the user, I'd be able to get to KDM, the place where you log in, and I'd be able to log in and say root. But I couldn't even get to that. So this actually, some of the settings within here and within splash screen up there, great, failed. Anyway, I didn't want to go in there. I'm glad it failed. affect everybody, all the users. That, to me, that's unexpected. So I was dealing with some ambiguity as to what the solution was. But to if you rename these to something different than what they are now, these are supposed to be hidden files, but I have show hidden files turned on, and unlike GNOME, it holds it. If you change the name of these, if I were to change the name of these, next time I log in, all of these would be gone. You know, all the customizations that I've done. If I've made a special sound for closing a window, you know, that would be gone, etc., etc. So what my strategy was, I changed these to 1.kde and 1.kde3, and then after I got my X back, I logged in. I was kind of confused. I go, this is weird. Where are all my icons? And I remembered that these two were here. In the meantime, these with the 2's in front of it, 2kde and 2kde3, if I got that on camera, had been created because I logged in the first time. So I renamed those to 2.kde, renamed these back from 1.kde and 1.kde3 to .kde and .kde3, and then everything was back the next time I logged in as James. So that was another thing. And then the last thing in this whole process, I thought, well, maybe because I've gone in to KDE's control settings, if I could just get GDM to load up instead of KDM when I first come in, then maybe I'll probably be able to log in. But that wasn't the case, and so I haven't covered how I changed it, and now I want to change it back, so I guess I'll have to kill two birds with one stone. But the problem is I forgot exactly what I did, but these searches come up pretty quickly, and I doubt it's going to be in my notes right here at my side. No, and I'm not going to waste your time like that. So let's go to Ubuntu use KDM. Okay, now I think this is good. Hopefully this will get. This guy's pretty good. Now this is not. Come on, get out of my way. I just want to. That's a little more automated than what I wanted. I want to edit the text files. Behind all these graphical user interfaces are just text files with, you know, like, shoot. Well, I guess I could bring it back, but I know I edited a text file. I'd rather just do it that way so you know really what's going on and not something in the back. I don't know if I'm gonna should have the gum. I think I'm gonna try to go off memory. I think it was an etc. And see, now one reason in the back of my mind is why I'm not covering this is because you know, if this is the X11 file from my other system, yeah. Default display manager, thank you. There it is. That's the one I changed, and unfortunately in the okay, so this is using GDM. I don't even like GDM. I could use KDM if I want. I should be able to. Hopefully it won't break anything by changing it to KDM. And now I just got to figure out where KDM is. And I still have this open, and this, okay. Okay, what? See, these are all config files. I want to know where KDM is, and of course it's not going to be in the same place as in FreeBSD. So usually this command will work, and one explanation I didn't go to with FreeBSD is that when I tried which KDM, it didn't work in FreeBSD, and I wasn't ready to start kludging around with I'm going to copy this with in FreeBSD. I was going to start experimenting with my profile to get the path to work, because there's so many different shells, and frankly, I've dealt with it before, and I had to like change 4 or 5 different shell configuration files to get anything consistent to end up the way I wanted it. That was 2 years ago, but I digress. So now I'm back here. The problem I'm going to have right now is I'm not going to be able to save this because I am not root, right? But I know where this is. So it's etc. X11 default display manager. That's nicely self-explanatory. Let me log in as root and change that so I can get what I want. Also, KDE is a little more full-featured. It has some integration, at least with the old version of Grub, and you could, if you installed Grub from the partition you're in, you will, yeah, KDE's fine. It'll integrate when you select. It won't just say, do you want to log out? It'll give you a whole list of various options to which one of these partitions you want to boot into. Now I think about it, I won't have that because I'm going to end up. Well, I might do Grub from here. Yeah, I might do Grub from here. So we'll see about that. Okay, so let's go here, etc. And let's go to X11. If I can find it. It's there when I show up. There's my default display manager. Now I can edit it. I think if I just click, yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to comment this out. That is, so I don't have to look it up later. Commenting it out means it'll be ignored. And what happened? Okay, I guess I got to go back here to the terminal. I copied that. I went, which KDM. It told me. One thing the only few things I don't like about KDE is startup tips. There we go. Let's do it again. Which KDM? Okay, opt KD3 bin KDM. So let's copy that. I think it doesn't let you copy across users. Control V. Yes, there it is. Okay, let's save this. Now, if everything is completely fucked up when I reboot, then I know I can go boot into Red Hat and change that back. All I gotta do is uncomment the line I added, and put a comment sign in front of the line I added, and uncomment the GDM, and I should be okay. So I'm gonna restart. Unfortunately, I don't have that option from KDE here now because GDM is just it's the little things about GDM and GNOME that really annoy me to the extent that I just don't. Do I have reboot here? Yeah, a little separate. You just don't know where to find. That little box in the right corner there for rebooting, for example, it isn't really prominent. You might not, I didn't notice it for a little while, and it's not really like a little button. It's not really self-explanatory. It may be familiar to someone that uses Windows, XP and beyond, but not everybody really knows what that means. It tries to look like a power button, but you don't know, and it isn't red, it's brown. Let's see what happens here. Now, hopefully I'll be able to use the KDE login screen. Hopefully I won't be back to where I was before. I know when Trendy installs, it uses GDM. Now maybe I'll find out that this is the reason. I was stuck, and all I had to do was change it back to GDM, but I remember trying that. In fact, still thinking, but it looks like I'm back at the same behavior I was at before. I'm exactly back where I was. Yeah. I'm going to have to pull the plug. And I gotta hope. It's blinking a little bit, but this isn't right, and I bet you if I go to Control F2, yes, I do not have the other terminal. So I guess the CompUse is requiring GDM? not even that. It's still broken. You know, if I were to disable CompUse at this point, I would be able to use my terminals, but I wouldn't know what to do. So I guess I'm stuck. I'm going to have to use GDM. And the only weird thing is over here on my computer to my right, I'm able to get in. But I don't think I have CompUse installed. I don't know. So anyway, I got to pull the plug here. I'm going to stop.